and then there's a hole in the middle, and you can screw a nail into that, and when you screw the nail into it, the point will open up. And the drywall will be right here, and you can hang anything right here on it, and the drywall anchor will like keep it secured to the back of the wall. So anything that's from 10 to 15 pounds, I'd recommend using a drywall anchor for. But if you're just hanging up like a poster or a magazine or maybe an album cover, who knows, you can just pretty much use a thumbtack or some sort of adhesive to stick it to the wall. Now, a stud, everyone's house has studs. They lay behind the drywall. It's a vertical 2x4. And if this is your wall, right, then behind it you'll have the studs that lay vertically. And you won't be able to see those, obviously. And depending on what house you live in, it's going to be different for everybody. These can either be 16 inches apart or 24 inches apart. And whenever you're putting something up in your wall that weighs more than 15 pounds, you've got to put it into a stud. If you don't put it into a stud, then that brittle drywall that I was talking about earlier will just break and completely collapse. One time, I had a pull-up bar, and I wanted to hang it on my wall, and so I just opened the box, got out the mounting hardware that it came with, and I mounted it into the drywall between studs here and here. Like, here was the pull-up bar, and there's where it was mounted. And I went to do a pull-up on it, and like this much drywall just came falling down off the wall, and there was a huge gaping hole in my bedroom for like a month that I had to get patched up. But there's a good way to work around that. And if you've got studs, it's always best to drill directly into a stud, because like I was saying earlier, drywall is rated for 10 to 15 pounds of weight, but a stud can hold up to 3,000 pounds. So, I mean, obviously don't go hanging something that's like 200,000 pounds on your wall, because that's just not good for your house. But you can get away with a heavy shelf or a pull-up bar, or a 100-inch TV mounted on the wall will work fine. But what if you've got, you know, what if you do want to hang something on the wall like this? Like what if it's, you can't place it right based on the studs in your room? Then you can make a bracket. Typically when you make a bracket, you're going to want to buy like wood or aluminum. Wood or aluminum works best because it doesn't take much to prep it. Like if you get steel, you'll have to spray it with Rust-Oleum so that it doesn't rust over time. But with aluminum and wood, you're usually solid. And you can just take like your piece of aluminum and drill it into the studs. And then this piece of aluminum right here that's drilled into your studs is being supported by all three of those. All three of these. That's 9,000 pounds. And so then you can take whatever you want to mount and mount it anywhere across this. You can mount it on any spot on that piece of aluminum or wood. And it will be really secure and really tight, and it'll stay in the wall like no matter what you do to it. I've got a shelf in my room that's got a 10-gallon fish tank on it, and it's supported by something exactly like this. And it's never fallen, it's never budged. I've even hung from it while having the fish tank on there, and it doesn't move. Now as far as finding the studs go, that's going to be a little difficult, but it's nothing that anyone can't handle. So like I said earlier, you're not going to be able to see the studs, they're behind the drywall. And if you don't have a stud finder, which you can pick up at any department store like Lowe's or Home Depot, you can pretty much just, I typically just knock, like you can knock on the wall until you hear something that doesn't sound hollow anymore, and there will likely be a stud. Or you can take a magnet, drag it along your wall, and it might stick to one of the screws that's inside the stud in the wall, and then you can find it perfectly. And if you've got one, then you know where all the rest of them are, because like I said, they're either 16 inches apart or 24 inches apart, depending on the house you have. And if you're not sure if you found it, it's okay to drill like a little hole in the wall, just to make sure that you're right on point. It's not good to put unnecessary holes in your wall if you don't have to, but in this case it's all right. If you just need to do it to find the one, that's cool. Anybody have any questions? No? Alright, well I hope you all enjoyed my presentation. This is on how to hang stuff up on drywall without making an unnecessary mess. And I hope you all learned a little bit today.